Welcome to the city of Warsaw, Poland. Now this is one of the most fascinating capitals in Europe, and yet many people skip it when they come to Poland, and it is not that well known among foreign visitors. So let's go have a look around and see what Warsaw has got to offer. We are now on the Vistula River here. The national football stadium is right over there. And yeah, this river divides the city into an eastern and a western part. The western part is here, and on this western side you'll find most of the city's main attractions. And then the eastern side over there is more residential. So what I'm gonna do now is head to the old town, which is about 1.5 kilometers into that direction. And along the way I can talk a little bit about Poland and Warsaw here. But yeah, first things first, it is absolutely freezing outside, about -4 Celsius, and I really need a hat. But luckily I came prepared. This is my Siberian winter hat, which I got in Lithuania about 10 years ago. And yeah, it has served me well since then. Now don't worry, this is fake fur. No animals were harmed in the making of this hat. So yeah, let's head to the old town. So the city of Warsaw here is actually very old, but then it also isn't. And that's what makes it very interesting. Let me explain. So what you have to know about Poland is that the Polish nation is very ancient. It has existed for many centuries, but the country of Poland has only existed sporadically throughout the centuries. So in the Middle Ages there was the Duchy of Masovia and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, but after that the Poles were always part of various empires and bigger countries, and they were split as well as minorities in different empires. But after World War I, when Austria-Hungary collapsed, Poland became a country once again. But then in 1939 they were invaded by Nazi Germany, and the Second World War is very important for Poland and also Warsaw here. So the city was occupied by the Nazis, and then in 1944, when the Russians were getting closer, the resistance here in Warsaw started an uprising. The movement was called the Home Army, and they held out for 63 days against the Nazis. Unfortunately, the Home Army lost, and they had between 150 and 200,000 casualties on the Polish side. Now, why am I mentioning this? Well, when the Home Army capitulated in 1944, before the Red Army came, Hitler decided that he wanted this city gone. And yeah, on the orders of Hitler himself, 85% of the buildings of Warsaw got destroyed. And that is what I mean when I say Warsaw is very old, but then it also isn't, because most of the historic buildings that you see today were rebuilt. And yeah, I want to show you the old town while there is still a bit of light. The time now is 2:30 in the afternoon, and the sun will go down in about 1 hour. But we are now entering the old town. So yeah, gotta get a bit of a move on. And I actually have another day here. I got here at 11 a.m. this morning, and I'm gonna leave tomorrow evening. So yeah, I might film tomorrow morning as well, but I am not sure yet. We'll see. Alright, we are now on Castle Square here. You got the castle over there, and then a big church right behind me, but I forgot the name of that one. Anyways, the castle was built in the 14th century and the church in the 18th century. But of course, a lot of what you can see here was destroyed in 1944, so it isn't technically original, but I think they did a very good job with the reconstruction here. And here we are now walking in one of the alleyways here, and I have to say there isn't really that much going on. Maybe it's because of the weather, because it is freezing, but this is very pretty. This doesn't really feel like a big metropolis, and don't get me wrong, Warsaw is a massive city, but when you are walking here it feels more like a provincial medieval town. And now we are on the famous Old Town Market Square here, and yeah, this is super pretty. I mean, did you imagine Warsaw to look like this? Most people don't, I guess. And yeah, most people in the West probably imagine commie blocks when they think about Warsaw, because Poland was a communist country until 1989, but there is quite a lot more to this city than its communist past. This right here is a fortress wall of some sort, and yeah, I am losing the light, guys. It is very pretty, but if you are coming here in winter, you gotta be prepared for the fact that at 3:15 p.m. the sun goes down. Later that day I went to a local restaurant and feasted on some delicious pierogi. These are traditional Polish dumplings that exist with various fillings. I went for a mixed plate which included ham, vegetable and mushroom pierogis. Needless to say, they were fantastic and went down very well with a local beer. Good morning, guys. It is now 9:30 a.m. day 2 here in Warsaw, and you might have noticed that there was a bit of snowfall last night. Now walking through this little park here, and this is absolutely gorgeous. The sun is out and it is actually warmer than it was yesterday, and I think that's why there has been a bit of snowfall last night, because yesterday it was simply too cold for the snow to continue falling. There seems to be a pretty interesting monument over there at the end of the park here, and I'll go check that out in a minute. First, I wanted to show you guys my accommodation. So I'm staying at the Ibis Budget Hotel, Warsaw Center, and yeah, it is what it says on the tin, an Ibis Budget Hotel, but it is very clean and very comfortable, and it's about 2 kilometers from the proper center. But yeah, I got a nice room with an integrated shower for 53 euros per night. You can find cheaper places, but this was very convenient. Alright, let's go check out this monument here. So this monument is actually dedicated to the rebuilding of Warsaw, not the uprising itself, so the reconstruction after World War II. Very interesting. Now my plan for today is to show you some more modern places here in Warsaw, because yesterday I showed you the old town, but that is only a very small part of this fascinating capital here. And here you can see some socialist apartment blocks, which is what a lot of people associate with Warsaw. But as I mentioned yesterday, there is a lot more to this city than that. This morning I was thinking about going to a few museums, because there are lots of very interesting museums here, including the Uprising Museum, which I visited about 10 years ago, the first time I came to Warsaw, and then the National Museum as well, but I simply do not have the time today. We are now walking past the Museum of Frédéric Chopin. You might have heard that name before, very famous Polish composer in the 19th century, and the main airport here in Warsaw is named after him. I actually flew into that airport yesterday. And yeah, what I find super fascinating about this city is that it is not universally pretty, like this building right here isn't pretty at all, but then next to it you have some historic buildings, and then in the background over there some very modern towers. The architecture here is sometimes super random. And then you have an Audi R8, amazing car. Anyways, that's what I like. I like contrasts. It's more interesting for me if a city has multiple faces. And now we are back on this main shopping street here. I actually came here yesterday, but it was dark. Really nice Christmas decorations. But I am gonna head into this direction here. Also, I have to say that this city, the center here at least, is super clean. I mean, it's not Singapore or Tokyo, but it is definitely much cleaner than Paris, Brussels or Barcelona, for example. And I have not seen one single beggar or homeless person so far. I am sure there are some, but they are not visible. So yeah, Warsaw in terms of cleanliness and public order, they got their shit together. Alright guys, and now we are approaching the building that I wanted to show you. This is the Palace of Culture and Science, and it was completed in 1955 when Poland was a communist satellite state of the Soviet Union. And back then it was actually named after Stalin. And it was sort of an unwanted gift to the people of Poland. And even today it is the second tallest building of Warsaw, and of course there are many nicknames for that tower, and one of those nicknames is Stalin's syringe, because it kind of looks like a syringe, doesn't it? So yeah, today this is a cultural center and a lot of events are held here. And yeah, many Polish people don't like this building because it represents communism and it was built during an era of oppression. But yeah, it is very iconic still. Right, so apparently this Palace of Culture and Science here also has a viewing terrace. So let's see if we can go up there. Let's enter here through these massive columns. And here's the entrance. Got myself a ticket, 25 zloty. That is about 6 euros. Not too bad. And here is the platform. Let's have a look. Wow, that is impressive. So the stadium is actually over there. That's where I started the video yesterday morning, on the river. So on the other side, not the side of the stadium. I have to say, this is a really decent observation deck. It has 360-degree views over Warsaw for 25 zloty, which is really not much for an observation deck. And yeah, some parts of Warsaw look like Manhattan these days. Poland has had incredible development in the last 20 years. And here in Warsaw you can definitely see that. And that is it for today, guys. I now have to get back to my hotel, get my bag, and then I am moving on. So the adventures in Poland will continue. As always, thanks very much for watching and see you in the next one. Goodbye.